Hello and welcome to rounds 9 to 12 of the 2019 GT Cup Championship. We're back at Snetterton after an unusually long break, so our drivers are raring to go and ready to compete for those all-important points. The GT Cup is forever changing, and there have been some upgrades this season. In fact, not just this season, but this weekend too, with drivers swapping cars and groups. Graham, we've seen you in the Ginetta previously, but you have changed car completely this weekend. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, this is a Nissan GTR Nismo GT3. So it's a proper X-Works Japanese car that's been running in Europe. In some of the biggest GT series in Europe. The team didn't want me to drive this car this weekend. They wanted me to drive the Ginetta because we only got the car last week. It's going well, but I'm very nervous because it is twice the power of the Ginetta. We're doing 160 miles an hour at the end of the straight in the wet, and it's got traction control and it's got ABS, and I've never driven with traction or ABS. So that's quite difficult to get used to.
Never really done anything with a GTR before. Obviously we've worked on P2 cars and a lot of other different formulas over the years, but yeah, never with a GTR before. Didn't really see the car before this weekend. We've not even had a chance to put it on a flat patch. It's literally as RJN delivered it to us, so it's been a big learning curve so far. I think the biggest change for Graham is obviously it's left-hand drive now, whereas the Ginetta was right-hand drive, so he's having a bit of trouble judging where the apexes are, and managed to clip the barrier in practice on Friday, coming into the pit lane just slowly. Forgot there was an extra bit on the right of him.
Well, in the Saturday morning qualifying session for the sprint race, drivers were greeted with a wet Snetterton circuit. However, the rain had stopped falling, which meant that as the cars circulated, the track would dry out, and all importantly, those lap times popped in at the very last moments of the qualifying session could be all important when it came to setting a time for the grid. So let's have a look at the way the grid lines up then. Dan Dazil on pole position, Richard Chamberlain alongside. Row 2 is Lucky Cristoforo and Tom Webb, with Graham Tilley and Chris Prosser on row number 3. Row 4 is Steve Ruston and Josh Jackson, and row 5 is Brent Millage and Sander Mortensen, who joins the championship this weekend. Row 6, David Franklin and Del Shelton, with row 7 being Fraser Smart and Chris Murphy. Row 8 is Mal Sanford and Frank Mortensen, and John Seal, after an off in qualifying, starts at the very, very back of the grid at the wheel of his Lamborghini. Watch out for him as he makes progress. So the cars in neat 2x2 order coming up towards the start line. The Ferrari of Dan Dazil, a new 488 for him and his father Graham this weekend. Lights are on, lights go out, and we're away and racing at Snetterton. Looks as though it's a good start from Dan Dazil, but Richard Chamberlain is just going to nose the Porsche ahead as they head up towards Richie's for the first time. Richard Chamberlain takes the lead, and trying to go round the outside is Tom Webb at the wheel of the Lamborghini. It looks as though he's through into second. Dan Dazil is down into third, but fighting back on the run up towards the hairpin at Wilson for the first time. Round through the right-hand hairpin, Richard Chamberlain from Tom Webb, then Dan Dazil, everybody else safely making it through the first couple of corners. Already the green Lamborghini in the hands of John Seal from the back of the grid is starting to pick off a few places. They turn their way through Palmer for the first time. It's Porsche that leads, Lamborghini second, the number 19 Ferrari of Dan Dazil there in third place, and Lucky Cristoforo in fourth place. Dan Dazil jinks out from behind Tom Webb, tries to take a wide sweep in towards Agostini, but is at the moment still stuck there in third position. The rest of the field just filing their way through the left-hand hairpin at Agostini, with David Franklin's Porsche under pressure from Chris Murphy's Aston Martin by the look of things, and Tom Webb in second place under pressure from the Ferrari of Dan Dazil that sits behind. Now these two are fighting for the lead of Group GTC at the moment, whilst the race leader, the Porsche of Richard Chamberlain that runs in Group GTO, is looking to try and make good his escape. Out of Williams, down the Bentley straight, Dan Dazil looking to try and haul the Ferrari alongside the Lamborghini. He's almost done so as they head up towards the braking area for Brundle and Nelson. Can Dan Dazil go through into second place? Yes, he can, round the outside at Brundle, and gets the job done before they even get to the right-hander at Nelson. The Ferrari 488 is now up into second place, Tom Webb in third, but now coming under pressure from the next of the Ferraris, that in the hands of Lucky Cristoforo. out of the bomb hole, up towards a sweeping right-hander at Corham. Graham Tilley not too far away at the wheel of that Nissan GTR as well, going well in his first ever race in what is a very unfamiliar car from him, as we heard earlier on. But the trio for third, fourth and fifth place, flicking their way out of Murray's, heading on to the Senna straight over the start-finish line, and lap number 1 gets chalked into the book. Richard Chamberlain will lead, Dan Dazil second, Tom Webb in the Lamborghini in third place, Lucky Cristoforo in fourth, but he's now under pressure from Graham Tilley, who thinks he might have an opportunity. Nothing doing as they went up towards Ritchie's. He'll have to wait until further around the lap. Big locked brakes for John Seal. He is heading off the circuit. This car damaged to the front of it as a result of an off in qualifying, so he didn't get many laps in. That's why he starts from the back of the grid. And here now is the battle for the lead, because Dan Dazil all of a sudden has caught up with Richard Chamberlain. Group GTO versus Group GTC. Can the Ferrari go through? No, Richard Chamberlain using all of his experience, many years experience in racing this fantastic Porsche, to hang on to the lead of the race. Under pressure though as they head down the Bentley straight. We've seen already what Dan Dazil can do, and it looks as though he's going to try it again. Round the outside of Richard Chamberlain at Brundle, gives him the inside line for Nelson, and Dan Dazil now goes through to take up the lead of the race, but runs a little bit wide coming out of the corner, and Richard Chamberlain runs side by side with him and retakes the lead of the race. Fantastic stuff. Literally, Dan Dazil only had the lead for a matter of feet, but now it's the Porsche of Richard Chamberlain that is back in the lead of the race, and these two are pushing each other hard and still breaking away from the cars behind as well. It's still the blue Lamborghini of Tom Webb that sits there in third place, but he is under enormous pressure, as is Richard Chamberlain for the lead of the race. Down at the bottom of the Bentley straight, Chris Murphy's Aston Martin coming under pressure from the Cayman in the hands of Brent Millage. Nice to see the Cayman joining the GT Cup ranks, and in the hands of Brent Millage is going very, very well indeed as it looks to try and get itself into contention in Group GTH. Here comes Tom Webb under pressure, no longer from Lucky Cristoforo's Ferrari, because he's dropped down into fifth position. It's now Graham Tilley's Nissan that's going beautifully well as the car makes its debut in GT Cup, hounding the Lamborghini ahead. Now, Graham Tilley runs in Group GTO, whereas the cars both in front and behind run in Group GTC, so it's not a fight for group position as such, but for Graham Tilley, it's a good first outing at the wheel of the Nissan. Through the left-hander at Palmer, Lamborghini from Nissan, from Ferrari for third, fourth and fifth position. Great fight as they head up towards Agostini and up towards Ritchie's. Here comes Chris Prosser at the wheel of the number 79 Team Hard Ginetta, leading Group GTA at this stage. Himself and Steve Chandler share the car. He could be on for group win number 7 of the season. Graham Tilley now ahead of Tom Webb coming out of Murray's, but all of a sudden the car slows. Tom Webb goes by, Lucky Cristoforo goes by. Now, did he miss a gear, or is there a problem with the Nissan? There go the race-leading pair still together over the start-finish line. Here comes Tom Webb in his newly reacquired third place, Lucky Cristoforo in fourth place, and Graham Tilley, yes, still looking slightly slow in fifth place. I do fear there may well be a problem with that Nissan. Here's the Group GTH leader. Now, this is also the overall championship leading car. Steve Rushton behind the wheel of the Signature RV First Choice Group McLaren 570 has actually built quite an advantage in Group GTH, so he's going well. And this is David Frankland at the wheel of his Porsche. He currently leads Group GTB. Great to see David now moving over from other types of sports car racing into the Porsche. Here's Tom Webb, still in third place, but he still cannot escape the grasp of the Ferrari 488 of Lucky Cristoforo that sits behind him, so still having to work terribly hard to hang on to that third position and what potentially is going to be second in Group GTC if he can keep it there. And I suspect he might, because time is running out for Lucky Cristoforo, because Richard Chamberlain is now onto his last lap of the race. He works his way past David Frankland's Porsche. He's going to squeeze the throttle and work his way past Brett Millage at the wheel of the Cayman and head up towards the checkered flag. It's win number 5 of the season in Group GTO for Richard Chamberlain. He comes through to grab the first race win of the weekend in the GT Cup Championship here at Snetterton in Norfolk. Dan Dazil will finish not that far behind him in second position, and the fight for third is surely going to go the way of the Lamborghini and Tom Webb. Confirmation then of the results. It's a win for Richard Chamberlain, with Dan Dazil in second place, securing top honours in Group GTC, Tom Webb in third and Lucky Cristoforo in fourth. Steve Ruston in fifth claims Group GTH, and Chris Prosser in sixth gets Group GTA. Chris Murphy, Sam Randon, Brett Millage and David Franklin is the Group GTB winner in 10th place, ahead of Sander Mortensen, Frank Mortensen, Fraser Smart, John Seal and Mal Sanford. So as the presentations are made on the podium, let's catch up with some of the drivers.
That was really, really difficult. I've got terrible memory. I don't know who was driving the Ferrari, but all I know is he's very, very good. He paid me to say that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome, and it was amazing to have such a great race. Last weekend, 8 weeks ago, it was good fun. Get back into racing, get my legs back, and then today it was like, oh, now we've arrived. We're doing a bit of racing, bit of wheel to wheel, bit bumper to bumper, and it was great fun.
Yeah, I mean, no issues. Yeah, I mean, we just got away and just sat to a rhythm and just kept going and going and going. So, yeah.
Has it run since we were here last time?
No.
So get it out of the box and changeable conditions, and it's still ticking along nicely.
Yeah, the car's just on rails.
Yeah, it was great to see now a class of 7, so that was really good. I had a brilliant start and used up all of my talent, and the next couple of corners I gave 2 places back, but they were for one in my class, the BMW, and one, I think, GTH.
Good start when you got up all the GT3 cars. It feels good to be right behind them, and then on the first corner you have your one little battle, and after that it's just pretty much try and keep eye on them, keep on the lap time, try and get you as consistent as you can. When you've got a race by yourself, it's key thing then is to race your time, but do it, keeping on the black stuff really, especially in that race then. So.